Alrighty, hello everyone. We're looking at the practice for that 2.13 lesson. So it says the solutions to a two variable inequality, which just means we have x and we also have y. They're all ordered pairs that make the inequality true. Remember, we were plugging in x comma y points, coordinates, to see if they would be in the solution. So looking at this situation here, Marco is making bracelets, and each bracelet needs to cost no more than $10. So there's our constraint. We don't want it to be more than $10. We have planet beads that cost $1, and we also have oval beads that cost $2. Marco wants to know if he can make a bracelet with 3 planets and 4 oval beads. So we're taking this point of 4, 3 and plugging it into the inequality. 2x plus y is less than or equal to 10, where x is 4 and y is 3. So 2 times 4 gets us 8, plus 3 is 11, and 11 is not less than 10. That would be too expensive of a bead, which would be right here. So it's close to the other points, but it's going to be too expensive. So it's not a solution. So we're going to do practices with more two variable inequalities in this Amplify activity. So let's go to slide 2. It says this graph shows some solutions to this inequality, and we want to select all the points that are also solutions. So we have 1, 1, which is going to be here. Definitely in the solution. It's in the blob area, so we want to select that one. 4, 0 would be here, also in that solution set, surrounded by solutions. 10, 4, this looks pretty outside, not going to be a solution. 0, 10 is all the way up here, also not a solution. And then 6, -1, oops, not there. That's 5, -1. 6, -1 would be here. So we can see that the purple and the 2 yellows are going to be solutions, but the pink and the blue are going to cost or be out of the solution set greater than 45. Take a second, get those 3 plugged in, and then go to slide 3. Enter at least 3 coordinate pairs that make this true, and our inequality is just x is less than or equal to y. So if x is 3, we want that to be less than or equal to y, so y just has to be bigger, like 5. We want our x coordinate to always be smaller or equal to our y. So we could do something like 5, 5. That would work because x and y can be the same, it can be equal. And then another one might be 2, 8, right? Where 2, which is our x, is smaller than our y coordinate. So there's many options here that would fit this criteria. You're just listing 3, and you can even list more here if you'd like to. Let's go to the next problem. Tyler can spend $45 on hats and socks. A hat is $10. So a hat costs $10, and a pair of socks is $2.50. And we're trying to represent this situation, this inequality. So we have 10 times H is going to be the total amount of money that we're spending on hats, plus 250 times S is the total amount of money on socks. And we can spend up to 45, but it cannot be more. So that's going to be less than or equal to 45. So we have 10H plus 250S less than or equal to 45. And for part 2, it says explain how you know that H comma S here, where our hat is 2 and our sock is 1. So we're plugging in 2 for H and 1 for S. 2 times 10 is 20. 250 times 1 is 250. And when you add those together, you get 2250, which is less than or equal to 45. So it works. So show your work in this box. Make sure you're plugging it in there or explaining how we got to prove that it is going to be a solution. Beautiful. When you're all set, problem 5 on slide 5. Said Mark is making a bracelet for his sister using beads that cost 50 cents and 75 cents. He cannot spend more than $8 on the bracelet. This is the inequality that Mark chooses. Do we agree with him? So you're going to think and look at this inequality and tell me if we agree with him or not. You're going to choose yes or no, whatever you choose, and then explain your thinking. Okay. So pause the video if you need to work through this problem. And then when you're all set, push ahead to slide 6. Problem 6 says the graph shows some solutions to this inequality 3x plus 2y greater than or equal to 12. Write an ordered pair for another point that is a solution. So we see all of these solutions here. So we want to find one that is also going to be a solution. So we could pick a point, that's clearly in the red area. This point I chose looks like 3 for x, comma 5 for y. So I could choose 3 comma 5 as an option and hit submit. And if we plugged it in for 3 comma 5, that's telling us that x is 3. So we do 3 times 3 plus 2 times our y, which is 5, and we're wondering if that's bigger than or equal to 12. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 times 5, which is 10, and of course 9 plus 10 is 19, which is greater. So yeah, it does work. It fits in the graph, and we can also test that point using our inequality to make sure that it makes a true statement. Beautiful. Slide 7 when you're ready. This graph shows 3x plus 2y is greater than or equal to 12. So what's a point that is not a solution? So we want to find one that's not around all these red points, right? So maybe this point here. Let's see if that is a solution, which has an x value of 1 and a y value of 2. So x is 1, y is 2. So we have 3 times 1 plus 2 times 2, and we're wondering if that's greater than or equal to 12. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 plus 4 is 7, which is not greater than or equal to 12. So yes, that's correct that it's not a solution. You may choose a different point that's not a solution. Make sure to check it and make sure it is not a solution in the inequality. And when you're all set here, push ahead to slide 8. Spiral Review says, write an inequality for this situation. Dury will stay warm in their sleeping bag when the temperature is at least 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Use T to represent the temperature. So T is our temperature. We want it to be at least 30 degrees. So we want the temperature, it can be more than 30 degrees. We do not want it to be less. So we want it to be greater than or equal to 30 degrees. So as long as T is greater than or equal to 30, Dury will stay warm in that sleeping bag. Beautiful. Slide 9, Dury wants their backpack to weigh less than 45 pounds. So W is the weight of the backpack. So we want W to be what? If we want it to be less than 45 pounds, what would that inequality look like? Take a second to write that there and check your answer. And then lastly, on slide 10, here's an equation. For each value of x, determine the value of y. So if x is 2, we have 6 times 2 plus 2y equals 36. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2y equals 36. We're trying to solve for that y coordinate, so we can subtract 12 on both sides. And we get 2y equals 36 minus 12 is 24. And then divide both sides by 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12. So when x is 2, y is 12. Beautiful. And for the second one, we're looking at when x is 4. So we have 6 times 4 plus 2y equals 36. 6 times 4 is 24. We'll subtract 24 on both sides, starting to get y alone. 24 minus 24 cancels. Bring down that 2y equals 12. And then divide both sides by 2. And we get y equals 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So when x is 4, y is 6. Now if we wanted to find the equation that represents the same relationship, we're starting with 6x plus 2y equals 36. And all of these equations have solved for y, so we want to solve for y too. So we're going to subtract this whole 6x term on both sides. 6x minus 6x cancels, so we just have 2y equals 36 minus 6x. And then we divide everything by 2. So we get y equals 36 divided by 2 is 18. 6x divided by 2 is 3x. So we have y equals 18 minus 3x. Beautiful. And you can see the corrections, if they're correct or not, on slide 11. And that's our little practice for 2.13. If you need support, come to those office hours on Wednesdays, or reach out to me if you want to find a different time to meet. Y'all are amazing, genius math brains. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.